Hello, my lovely students. Welcome back. Let's study patterns in multiplication. From lesson 3 in chapter 5, page 76. From this lesson, we will learn how we can multiply decimal number with 10 and with 100 and with 1000. For example, we have 0.98 times 1000. Look at these patterns we have. From there, if you multiply 0.98 by 1, it is 0.98 because it is one property. Any number multiply with 1, it's same number. But if you multiply 0.98 by 10, from 10 we have 1 0. So that means this decimal point we have from this decimal number, we move this decimal point one place to right because from 10 we have 1 0. So we move this decimal point just one place. It is between 0 and 9. We make it between 9 and 8. Look at there. We just move the place decimal point, put between 9 and 8. And this 0 we have before point, we don't write again, we don't want because 0 from first, from whole number, it doesn't have any value. And this 0 also we don't put from there, okay? Because 0 at last from decimal number at right, it doesn't have any value also. And from there we have 0.98 times 100. 100, it has two zeros. So we move this decimal points we have to place at right. Okay, 1, 2. So we put after 8. Also after 8, it's not important. You can't don't put. Okay, and the 0 before 9 we don't write again because 0 from first in whole number it doesn't have any value. And from there 0.98 times 1000. So we have 30. We must be move this decimal point three places. But from there just we have two digits, so we can't put 0 from there because 0 at last it doesn't have any value. After that we move this point three place to get 980. There's more example about decimal number, how you can multiply with 10, 100, 1000. 3.25 times 1, it's same number because it's one property. After that, if you multiply by 10, that means this decimal point, we move just one place, okay? It's from there we put between 2 and 5. So we get 32.5. The 0, it's extra 0. We can also don't put it from here. 3.25 times 100. From 100 we have two zero. So we move this decimal points to place. 1, 2. We put after 5. We get 325. And from there we have 3.25 again times 1000. From 1000 we have 30. So we move this decimal point three place. But from there we have just two place after decimal point. We can make it three digit by adding 0 at last. At last 0 from decimal number, it doesn't have any value. So we'll add from there. After that we move this point three place. 1, 2, 3. We get 3250. And B, it is 0.478 times 1, it's same number. But if you have 0.478 times 10, that means we move this point one place. We put it between 4 and 7, okay? And this 0 you don't write because it's from first. And also from there we have 0.478 times 100, it's 20. So this decimal point we move two place. 1, 2. It is take between 7 and 8. We get 47.8. And from there also we have 1000. So that means we move three place. 1, 2, 3. So it's at last we can don't put it. From C we have 0.009. The zeros, it's tenths and it's place hundredths, it is thousands, it is 10,000. When you multiply by 1, it's same number 0.009. But if you multiply by 10, we move this 0 one place. So we don't need two 0 from whole because 0 it is 0. We just write 1 0. It will be 0.009. And from there, if you multiply by 100, we have two 0. So we move this point two place. 1, 2. We get 0.09 because this 20 from first we don't write again, we just need 10 from whole number. And from there also we have 0.009 times 1000. From 1000 we have three zeros, so we move this point 1, 2, 3. It takes between 0 and 9, and there's zeros we don't write. This exercise is about how you can multiply decimal with 1 and with 10 and 100, 1000. We will solve number 2 till 7. It's in page 77. So use mental math to complete. From number 2 we have 1 times 0.3. It's same number 0.3 because it's one property, we know that. After that, if you have 10 times 0.3, from 10 we have 1 0, so we move this decimal one place. We take it after 3, so it's not important to write after 3 this point. And from there we have 100 times 0.3. From 100 we have two zeros, so that means we must be moved this point to place. But from there we have just one digit, so we'll add another digit. We'll add 0. 0 at last from decimal number, it doesn't have any value, so we can put a 0 from there. After that we move this point 2 times. 1, 2, so we get 30. This 0, if you write from there, it doesn't have any mean because it's from first. In whole number we don't need 0. And from there it is 1000, so we have three zeros, so we move this decimal point 3 times. But from there we just have one digit at right, so we put two zeros. After that we move 1, 2, 3, so we get 300. And the 0, we say that it's from first, we don't write. And from number 3 we have 1 times 2.845. It's 2.845. If you have 10 times 2.845, that means this point, we move place this point one place. It take place between 8 and 4, so we get 28.45. And from there we have 100 times 2.845. It's 20, so we move this point to place 1, 2. We move to the right 1, 2. So it take between 4 and 5. We get 284.5. And from there it's 1000 times 2.845. 1000, it has 30, so we move this decimal point 3 place. 1, 2, and 3. It take after 5, so we can don't do it. Number 4 we have 1 times 0.3459. It's same number because it's one property. And if you multiply with 10, 0.3459, we move this decimal point one place. We take it between 3 and 4, so we get 3.459. And if you multiply by 100, we have 20. We move two place at right, to the right, 1, 2, so it take between 4 and 5. It will be 34.59. If you have 1000, we multiply with 1000. We have 30. We move 3 place. 1, 2, 3. It's take between 5 and 9. So it's 345.9. From 5, we have 1 times 0.005. So it's the same number 0.005. After that, we'll multiply by 10. We have 1 0. So we move this point one place. It will be between the next 0 and third 0. So from whole number we don't need 2 0, just we write 1 0.05. And if you multiply by 100, we move two place. 1, 2, it will be between this 0 and 5. And from there, if you multiply by 1000, we move 3 place. 1, 2, 3. So it take after 5. After 5, it's not important, we can don't write. Number 6 also, it's like number 4. We have 1 times 0.3459. So it's same number, but if you multiply by 10, we will move this decimal point one place. It will be take between 3 and 4. We get 3.459. And if you multiply by 100, we move this point two place. 1, 2. It will be between 4 and 5. We get 34.59. And if you multiply by 1000, we move this point 3 place. Since we have 3 zeros, so 1, 2, 3, it take between 5 and 9. And from number 7, 1 times 0.45, it is 0.45. 10 times 0.45, 10, that means we move the decimal point one place. It takes between 4 and 5. This 0 is said that we don't write again because 0 from first, it doesn't have any value from whole number. And from there we have 100 times 0.45. That means we move this decimal point two place to the right. So 1, 2. It will be after 5, so we don't write this. And if you multiply by 1000, we remove 3 place to write, but we don't have 3 digits. We can put 0 at last 0. It doesn't have any value. After when you put it the 0, we will move this point 1, 2, 3 place. We will move, so we take after the 0, we get 450. That's all about how we can multiply decimal number with 10 and with 100 and with 1000.